Hi, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching doing the trade review for Wednesday. Today is March 26, 2014. What really it was actually a kick-ass day there at the end of the day. So wanted to go through the trades today and kind of lay out how the day laid out, and also some of the difficulties and some of the challenges of being successful today. But that being said, there's two things that one wants to watch out for on a big reversal day like we had today. My first key, so remember, I'm not a swing trader by design. It's certainly not what I'm presenting here, right? If trade set up for me, I take swings, but for the most part, I'm looking for 2 points and then some trailers for my paydays. And my objective is to get 1 to 2 trades a day for 1 to 2 points apiece. Okay, and in addition to that, I work with my trading clients to set up trap trades both up and to the downside. Okay, I don't cover the trap trades other than in a very vague, broad way in this format. I do cover the zones pretty accurately. And so the first thing that I wanted to point out was this morning we opened up in the morning at Tuesday's high, and we had economic data at 8:45 Central Time. And I want to expand this out. If you look at this, I almost want to break it down to a 1-minute candle. It's so whippy. Okay, this day held a couple of challenges, and so what most traders that I speak with want to be able to do is, in the dream world, they want to be able to short here, and they obviously would like to cover all the way down here. Okay, and that's just it's not very realistic for most day traders, most leveraged futures traders. Okay, I suppose if you're trading the ETF, certainly possible. Secondly, the shorts haven't been very well rewarded in the last, let's call it 4 or 5 months. They've been constantly burnt. It's hard for me as a trading coach to really consider that there was a lot of people that saw the short today, were able to put the short on, and took a short to the downside. I actually don't even believe it, quite frankly, if you told me that. I suppose, but it would be very hard for me to stomach. Now, there were a couple of trades within here in the morning on the NQ, and we did reject. I did point out in the morning that if we traded above Globex high, which is right here, and we did that right out of the gate, and rejected, that would set up a potential trap trade to the short side. You can see that we even got this retest right here at 10 minutes till 9 o'clock after the news had come out. And ideally, had you entered this trade properly, and I won't go through the details of how you knew this was proper and it wouldn't get stopped and so on and so forth, but had you entered it properly, technically you could have survived all the way to the end of the day. It never came out to stop you out. But from a zones perspective, there was only one zone to trade out of today, and it got traded through in both directions. Now, I certainly could have changed this. I could have made the zone up here, but you know, when I make these zones, most of the time I get them right. If I get them wrong on occasion, which I don't think I got them wrong today, right? My only objective is not to lose money there. I want to preserve two things when I'm trading. I want to preserve my capital for only the best opportunities, and I want to preserve my mental energy and not cause any mental damage in the course of my doing business with the market. I want to stick to my trade plan. I don't want to take any large losses. I don't want to take anything off of my trade plan, and I want to enter, exit the same way almost each and every time. My trading strategy on how I make money is not contingent on catching these huge swings. It's nice if I get them. It's contingent on making 1 or 2 points 1 to 2 times a day. Everything else is simply cream on top of the cake. I don't know if that's the expression, but that's what I'm going to go with tonight. So I would say pretty much this whole thing right here, these whipsaws up and down, I would dare say they were almost untradeable. This was Globex high, this was Monday's high, and this was Tuesday's high, and we were just ripping through these with no discretion right up until 9:15 in the morning when we finally broke below, and Tuesday's high finally became the point of resistance. The point of all that being is, when you look at it, there was no way to know that this was actually going to hold resistance because we had ripped through it so many times prior. So I simply had no trade to call out here besides this one right here early in the morning, and you had to be extremely aggressive. The next place that would set up for a trade at all, right, would have been the first hour's low, which set up right here. And you can see they actually they trapped above the first time. We traded right back to Tuesday's high. This is Tuesday's high right here. I'll move this. Okay, and then we broke the second time. They tried to trap again. Eventually they failed. You can see that this is pretty much Chop City. I promise you, a lot more people lost money in this process than made money in this process. This was hard. So I don't have much more to say about that because I wasn't overly active. I looked to capture a little bit of the trap in here, but this was pretty damn hard. The other thing that I pointed out very early in the day, and I'm going to pause this for a second. So I want to point out time-wise here that at, let's see, my first mention with this was about 10 a.m. Central Time. I said, worth noting that NQ is now negative on the day. Whole world of traders that got used to buying gaps getting killed in the last 2 weeks. Okay, that was my first mention. Let's look at what time that had occurred, guys, just so you can see that. This is 10 a.m. right here. Okay, this is 10 a.m. We're just piercing below the first hour low, but no serious damage yet. But if you look at that, and if you look at NQ at the same time, right at 10 a.m. This is NQ. Just lost NQ. Let's see if we can get it back here. This is NQ at 10 a.m. and there's a couple of notable things. First of all, we had broken the uptrend from the prior day. That was one of the things that I pointed out in the pre-market meeting, which is in the video right below this, that it needed to preserve that in order to definitely maintain upside. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I sure wish it wouldn't do that. I don't know what is up with my computer tonight. The other thing that I wanted to point out, this is 10 a.m. right here. Okay, we're now negative on the day. Okay, at this particular point, while ES is still positive. Okay, ES is still not hit. The problem with that is you have to get used to knowing day by day for weeks, months, and day over day, with the rare exception. NQ has led this market. I've been pointing it out in the pre-market meetings. You had to pay attention to it. The other thing I wanted to point out was, okay, and then again at 10:49, I'm going to show you right here. I came back in at 10:49. And I said consolidation. So first of all, I pointed out consolidation right at 1858 will not be automatic for me. We'll decide based on price action, but that is still my area, right? And then I said worth noting again that NQ has been negative most of the AM, regular trading hours. That's RTH. It's also been the leader ups and down. So okay, so that's at 10:49. Look at where we're at right here. Okay, time clockwise. This is NQ. We've been unable to get back above gap fill. This is almost 11 a.m. going into New York lunch. Okay, if you look over here, this is the same time right here. We're still holding above gap fill on ES. ES is actually divergent from NQ and showing more strength than NQ is. So you have to keep that all in mind. And I want to show how my thinking goes through the course of the day. When NQ is weak, I am not looking to ride ES like a cowboy and take it back to the upside, right? Let's see here. I put in then at 11:02, New York lunch, pulling all my orders and going to lunch. Not my high odds time of day. Wrote time of day, but I meant time of day. Okay, what did that prevent me from? That prevented me over New York lunch from getting whacked in this area. Also, I had pointed out in the morning, very important. Okay, I'm going to sweep this up. I pointed out, reiterated, stressed. Right, this was a weak zone that it could very possibly simply get traded through. It was a point of resistance. It was a valid zone. Right, you can see it provided resistance on the way back up. But on the way down, I was concerned that it would bust, and sure enough that it did, right? I want to see if there's anything else as I was going through here. Okay. And then finally at 12:30 I wrote, back from lunch, there's a reason I pulled my 1858 trade, which would have put me right here at the test of Globex low and gap fill, which is before market. I said that I would be looking to take a trade in this area, right? So there was a couple of things. First of all, we tested that early. We missed it by a tick here. I considered this actually the first touch right there. Secondly, we actually touched here. So this is actually the third touch, actually fourth touch. We touched it 4 times. Also, it's New York lunch. Look at this trade action over New York lunch. This is 2 points, folks. good luck making any kind of real money trading when the entire range is 2 points. Holy cow, that's a prescription for blowing yourself up, okay? Pointing out this is a weak zone, and then as we went through the balance of the day, I want to see, okay, then I pointed out the 1884 to 1856 was not an automatic zone for long, that I needed to see how it would perform in that area. Obviously that didn't work out. Let's see here. I want to get to the last part here. One second. The last piece that I had here was right here, which was this right here. And I want to show you how my, and the reason I'm showing this is so I can show you how my thinking was going. 1:21 p.m. That puts us approximately right here. Okay? And what I said, my assumption is the zone has been tested. Moving on down to the 1841, 1843 level as my next area to look for a long. Okay? And I said, and I pointed out a couple of things. I want to point out the strength in this, okay? The strength is that even though I'm not necessarily making a killing, at least on trades I'm calling out in this area, okay, I'm not getting run over. None of this damage does me any harm. I'm totally fine for the next day. And if I am going to look long, I knew exactly where to draw my eyes down to. What does that eliminate as far as mentally speaking? It eliminates all my analysis of this entire block right here. I'm able to completely relax right up to this point. And even at this point, I mean, it's the end of the day. I didn't have to worry about it, right? But I knew not to step in. Look at the advantage. I knew not to look for anything here, 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 here. This is a lot of real estate. This is essentially all the way from 1854 all the way down to 1841. I knew that there was 15 points of real estate minimum that did not require my analysis or thought process, that didn't even need to exist as far as I was concerned, because I wasn't going to look to get long until we were down in this zone, and that coincides with what I said this morning. So let's go back through it just one more time so everyone's clear. Okay? If you didn't make any money up here, don't feel bad. This was crap chop. Okay? Very hard to trade anything more than a scalp one way or the other. Very difficult. Look at the price action here versus the price action here. This is usually the price action we get in the first hour. Conversely, this is usually the price action we get in the last hour. It flipped today. No big deal. Next part. I had pointed out, this is a zone, yes, but it's a weak zone. It can easily break, and it did, right? In addition, when we got to Tuesday's low, first time in, I pointed out, we expect responsive buyers there. We traded from 1850 all the way up to 1856. 6 points of potential profitable trade there, right? And then I pointed out, second test. Why do I not take the second test? Could have you technically squeezed a profit out of this? Yes. Was it worth it? No. You're stepping right in front of a freight train. We got long liquidation at the end of the day. It was not pretty, and we closed near the low of the day. The other thing I want to show you is this right here while I'm going over it, and I'm very tired, so I apologize if I'm not being as detail-oriented as I normally am. Okay. This is this same chart that I just switched off of, and I encourage people to build this exact same chart. This is this chart right here, same chart we've been looking at, right? And I ripped out all the zones. All that left me with was the trading channels. Okay. If you look today in that, we almost, not quite, came right to the top of the trading channel. We broke the uptrend from yesterday. Right? This was Tuesday's high, okay? Leaving out everything else. This is Tuesday's high. We broke below, right? And we never recovered back to the highs again. And then we traded sideways. You had to have the patience of an angel to make it through this, but if you did, congratulations, right? We came down to this zone where this bottom of this channel came up, and it happened to line itself up with exactly where that weak zone was. Okay, we busted below. We came back up and attempted a backside test. That failed. Okay, we broke through Tuesday's low, and then we came down to where I said we would, which was we'll test Monday's low. Right below that is the bottom of this channel. And this channel, by the way, I'm going to squeeze it down for you so you can see what it looks like. Okay, this channel we've been in for an extended period of days now. Okay, going back almost 3 weeks, I want to say. This channel that we've been in right here, with rare exception, we broke below it briefly. Okay, so if tomorrow morning, right, we could certainly, if you want to see what that's going to look like, we could certainly gap below this channel again, right, and have a balanced day upside of it. The key will be, do we gap back up into the channel and hold, or do we stay out of this channel? Is it a new break, and are we going to have a move to the downside? We will not know further until tomorrow morning. But I keep different perspectives, looking at the market from different perspectives constantly through the day, because it gives me a different angle. But all of that revolves around having one execution idea, and that execution idea is this. First time into the zone, I'm looking for a pause, unless I've otherwise noted, such as it's a weak zone, right? Last hour, end of day, I'm not trading necessarily. But outside of that, I'm looking for first touch of that zone. I'm looking for a 2-point rotation up, which we got, okay? And I'm looking to move on. And I'm preferably getting all of that done before 11 a.m. And what I'm looking to do is string together a series of trades. And as I'm stringing together this series of trades where I have over a 70% win rate, I'm then looking to increase my trade size as I move forward so that I don't have to capture 10 trades or 20 trades a day to make a lot of money. Everyone's trying to figure out ways to make a lot of money in trading, and I don't blame them. I think it's a good idea. But I've seen very few people who can day trade and string trades together and get rich doing it. It's very difficult to run 5 or 10 trades successfully through the course of the day, usually because there's just not that many opportunities to do so, and you cannot sustain that at an 80 or 90% win rate, which you need. And if you can't do that, what you end up doing is spending 1 or 2 years, if not less, trying to string together trades, get eaten up by commissions, and constantly suffering drawdowns or setbacks where you end up being either, if you're good, a break-even trader, and if you're bad, you end up being a losing trader. You throw in all those bad habits that traders have on top of that, and this becomes a very difficult business. How do you counter that? You have a set trade plan, you have a set entry, exit, and stop program, okay? If you want to add to that program, if you want to do additional trades, that's fine. There's other trades to do, but you need to use it as, you look at your trading as diversifying your portfolio. You have a number of trades that you add to so that you have 3 or 4 trades by the time you're done building your portfolio, and you can trade in almost any market. You can swing trade these zones. You can trap trade these zones, okay? But each one has its own individual skill set and requires mental practice and requires knowing how to execute them properly so you can do it over and over and over again. This is a hard business. They make it look easy because the access is so easy, but it's not. It's hard. My job, from my perspective and the guys that I work with, is to take them from being break-even traders to being consistent traders, and then occasionally being really great traders where they're really blowing their account up in a positive way. Okay, everyone who is stuck through the initial, I would say, learning process, right, and have been able to slow their trades down, which is what that initial learning process requires, have gone on to see very fruitful rewards from doing that. Those who can't slow down their trading long enough to let a particular trade program work for them, what they end up doing is going through these huge series of booms and busts, right? And right now, there's a lot of traders out there who are going through a massive bust cycle, and I can tell you the ones they are. They're the guys who, through all the last 3 or 4 months, have been buying the gap ups, and they're doing that now, and they are getting consistently smoked both in ES and in NQ to the downside. And the other group that I think is going to have their comeuppance here pretty soon is the ones who just buy blindly on the way down, knowing that we are going to rotate back up. Now, I might be wrong about that. It's not that I wish them ill will. It's just that program doesn't work very well over the longer term, and it ends up smoking you. So anyways, my name is Simon. I hope I wasn't too negative. I was really tired tonight. I apologize. I worked really hard today to set this up today, and I'm happy to say not one of my coaching clients lost any money, and actually quite a few of them had very nice days in the NQ, and a few of them had, and almost everyone had a good day in ES, finding at least one trade for most of them. So anyways, I hope everyone had a great day. If you have any questions, you can email me at tradeandperform@gmail.com. My name is Simon. Tomorrow, right, we have yet to have a consistent two days of long liquidation in a long time in ES or in NQ. I can't think how far back it's been since we've had that. So again, the pattern I'd be looking for, hopefully we'll panic out of the gate. If we do panic in the morning, I would be looking for responsive setups back to the upside for a test at least. Now, if we gap up, that's a different situation, but on a gap down would be nice. It would set us up nicely for an attempt at least at gap fill, and we'll kind of see what the cards are dealt. And the cool thing about that is we don't have to know what the market's going to do. All we need to know is where the appropriate support resistance zones are and what we're going to do at those zones and what type of look we need in order to take our trade. And if that trade comes to us, we'll take our trade and hopefully we'll make money. We know that we have high odds of doing that. And if it doesn't come to us, the market doesn't come to us, we'll just put our hands in our pocket and wait till it does, right? The only people that lose a lot of money in the market are the ones who have to trade. The ones who want to trade, they want to trade their good setups. The ones who have to trade, they want to trade anything that's thrown in front of them out of desperation for making money. So anyways, have a good night, guys. I think I'm way too tired. I am going to go, I think, for a run and then get to bed so I can get up early and tailor these zones for tomorrow's business. Good night, everyone.